welcome to another edition of AI eDiscovered. I'm excited to be with a number of my friends in the eDiscovery world, where we talk about exciting eDiscovery technology as well as AI, since we're in the generative AI explosion. My name is Nick Wittenberg. I am a corporate counsel and senior advisor for legal technology and innovation. I am super excited to be joined by Stephanie.
Hi, all. Glad to finally make it back and record another episode here. Stephanie Clerking, Director of Litigation Support at Corrine Tillery, plaintiff's firm based out of St. Louis.
I'm Doug Austin, editor of eDiscovery Today, writing about AI and eDiscovery, and excited to be back here talking with my friends and colleagues.
And Stephen Herrera at Repario, VP of Business Development and eDiscovery and Global Lit Services. Always excited to talk about the next thing in AI.
Well, thank you so much all for the introduction. Well, been some development since we last got together. Let's kick it off with the first one. What is this new generative AI tool we've seen internationally? Doug, I'll kick it to you.
Yeah, we're going deep this episode with talking about a platform everybody's talking about called Deepseek, and it is basically a Chinese startup that's developed advanced AI models. One of the notable things about them that's gotten everybody's attention is these models were developed with significantly less computational resources and less cost than the models that have been developed by OpenAI and Google and what have you. The discussion about them and their capabilities became it burst on the scene in such a way that really had a major impact on the stock market for a few days. NVIDIA, which of course provides the chips for a lot of the AI models, had the largest dollar drop in the history of the stock market. I think it's something like 600 billion in a day or close to it, which is crazy. Of course, that was only like 17%, so that shows you how big they've gotten. But yeah, it's definitely a model that people are talking about some of the really good things about it, and also talking about some of the bad things about it in terms of it being a Chinese AI model where the data is stored in the People's Republic of China. So they're definitely interested in your all thoughts on its capabilities and the data storage and security aspects.
I haven't been into this yet, but it's funny. TikTok, we've seen that through the holiday and New Year season, and it's got a little bit of a reprieval into the courts. President decide that one. But then Deepseek kind of comes up. Stephanie, what do you see being some of the issues with this?
Well, I mean, you just mentioned it. It's security and privacy. I mean, so I'm not sure if everybody else on the call has jumped in and actually played around with Deepseek. I have not. I've been letting some of the other cybersecurity pros out there take the first dive on my behalf as we learn more and more. But yeah, that's a big concern. Where's that data going to go? I already worry if somebody's going to put any confidential data in just ChatGPT, but you add another layer of it's hosted in China or stored in China. That's a little more concerning. And I have seen, and I don't have a list of the companies in front of me, but corporations are already trying to build DeepSeek models into their infrastructure. And say I'm a consumer, that means my information is going there as well. And I just think it's kind of unprecedented right now, and it's going to be game changing. Hopefully in a good way. I mean, I hope Deepseek will force some of our other big players to reconsider price points and scalability and accessibility, but I think it's a time will tell.
Yeah, I saw Tiger Brokers is, if I understood it correctly, one of the first.
That was the one I saw,
yeah. And it's from U.S. market analysis, which of all the things that we would start plugging this into, I was a little surprised. I think it was Reuters was covering it. Was a little surprised by that one, but I wonder if like the scale and volume of like these one-offs really compares to what we can only imagine as being put into ChatGPT daily. Because I think there's just so many organizations, agencies, whatever, that don't necessarily have all the controls around this that are needed. And there's a lot of data going in just OpenAI.
Stephen, you brought up agencies. I saw it was a couple days, maybe end of January, ChatGPT Gov came out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not sure of any agencies who have actually signed up for it, but I think with DeepSeek, I don't think we will have a .gov version. But I think the security issue, um, everything pretty much is open to cyber attack.
Yeah.
And with all these systems, classified, unclassified, sensitive data, attorney-client privilege, it will be interesting because I still feel we're out of this beautiful conference, University of Florida, with awesome professor Hamilton. I still, correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, it was proceed with caution with generative AI systems. And so I think that adds to having DeepSeek, an adversary throwing one out there.
Yeah, I'm definitely, proceed, but obviously you have to be aware of the risks. And certainly I think with some of the models that have been around for a while, we're starting to manage those risks. Like, for example, implementations of ChatGPT, where there's no data retention and you don't have to worry about it storing your data. I did a couple of posts about DeepSeek. The first one was after I just seen so much stuff. I was like, man, I don't even know where to begin with this. So I threw it all, like 15 articles into Notebook LM and just said, give me some of the key issues here, some of the key aspects of it, good and bad. So that was interesting. And then somebody forwarded to me an article that really talked about, it was a security company talking about things like unencrypted data transmission, weak and hard-coded encryption keys, insecure data storage. Obviously, the data sent to China and governed by People's Republic of China laws, things of that nature, extensive data collection and fingerprinting. They're getting your biometric data. And they were saying, if you've got it on your phone as an iOS app, get it off of there. That's how strong they were saying it. I have not tried it. I do not intend to try it for the foreseeable future.
Well, what's interesting is I saw they passed ChatGPT on US iOS App Store downloads, which that's a big metric.
It is.
Both having free access, greater downloads for DeepSeek. That's shocking.
Do you know where those downloads came from, or it was just a number?
It was all from it was all US based downloads.
Oh,
If
okay.
that's what you mean.
Yeah, I
that
thought
was
maybe
from
it's
the Atlantic.
international downloads or
No,
You said in
just
the App
US based,
Store.
which is even.
Yeah.
wow.
You said in the app stores. That's where you pulled that from.
Right.
I
So there's a
think
lot
it
of
was
people who aren't as
iOS
concerned
specific.
about security. They're just like, hey, it's a new tool.
I'm not at
let
all
me add it.
surprised. Yeah,
Right.
not at all surprised.
A lot of people asking, is this related to TikTok? Can I access TikTok through this?
The one I always like to tease is I think we talked about just a few seconds ago is the price. And there's the ChatGPT has a $200 version. I've yet to play with that or hear anyone who does. I'd love to know what's the difference between the free, the 20, the 200, and take those three versions and some of the others we have here, Copilot, Google's version, keep going, and then compare that with DeepSeek and just kind of is it free and does their free version knock out the $200 version?
That's a good thought process because I
Yeah.
use free and we have a $20 a month one for membership I have access to. But the only thing I've seen between free and the $20 one is image generation. That's the biggest one. But before this meeting, I typed into my phone. I joked about this, like, hey, ChatGPT, tell me all about DeepSeek, which just felt kind of funny typing that in, to learn about competitors. But at the same time, I typed it into my paid version and the results are almost identical. So for a basic question, it gave me the same.
Mhm.
But if I wanted to ask it to now turn this into an image, that's when it would tell me that's a paid feature usually. So I am curious though, how this will compare with DeepSeek and if it'll change these pricing models.
Because I thought, Nick, that the only difference between Plus and Pro was privacy of your data and a higher limit on responses, which I'm on the $20. I've never run into my limit ever. And I'm an avid user.
Yeah, I think that's a good
To put
one.
it lightly.
Is the it you get clipped? I forget where you get clipped at
Yeah.
between question searches. But that's another deep dive where people I've heard at a number of different conferences is the terms of service about whether or not it's a closed open system, who owns your data once you upload the prompt. And I'm not sure if the paid and private. I mean, I could see an enterprise that, like, if you know the if we were to have a huge enterprise version, let's say the $200 one, maybe have a better negotiation. But my understanding, I could be wrong, is that it's not black and white about where all that resides. You know, is it where those servers are physically located? So I know that's a government one that in order to have a ChatGPT Gov, the servers, yes, it's up in the cloud, but everything has to come down and sometimes has to reside on US soil. So that's another great point. I think again, why we're all trying to figure all these different things out, and we throw in right when we got 10% of the plane built, we put a whole new plane in there and try to figure out which is some challenges out there for us.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
be worried if I was Sam Altman. I simply wouldn't be worried if I was running OpenAI.
Yeah. Doug, what were you
Yeah,
going
I
to say?
mean, it does seem like the security concerns, the app downloads, aside, are starting to mount from a Deepseek standpoint, at least in terms of businesses using it. Maybe individual consumers may be testing it out, but that we don't really know much more beyond that. Certainly, I think that OpenAI is continuing to advance their capabilities. I did a comparison a while back of the free versus the $20 version. This was before the Pro came out, and I haven't done that. The comparison among the three of them might be a blog post topic, idea to get back into. But one thing I did when I did the comparison is I did notice that Pro does give you the ability for a particular conversation to say, don't use this in training. So it does give you some options even for the $20 version to not at least retain the data for training purposes.
Doug, another one would be great is in the eDiscovery world is just kind of survey the landscape of what folks are using from OpenAI to Copilot. And, I see this another nightmare for our good friends in the modern attachment hyperlink debate as well. But, you do an awesome job doing the state of the eDiscovery industry. And this would be another one to see, are we still heavy ChatGPT? Are we starting to use other things? Are we seeing Harvey? Are we seeing Westlaw? Are we seeing some others that are kind of starting to gain back up there?
Yeah, last year I had a question from a personal standpoint, what people were doing. This year I just kind of thought I'd focus more on what businesses are doing and kind of go that route. But I could certainly consider going back to that as maybe a potential question to ask, because it's not just what are they doing with generative AI, but what tools are they using to do that with? But I think if we're talking eDiscovery, of course, they're doing it through the platforms that have installed those tools, and some of them have installed one or more tools within their platform, giving some even give you an option as to which model you use, which is kind of interesting.
Awesome. Well, I think we are at time. Another wonderful AI eDiscovered episode we've got going on here. I just want to say thank you for myself, and then Stephanie.
Yeah, thanks all. And somehow time just always flies by and is never long enough on these things, but we'll keep these discussions going.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. Glad we were able to get back together. Hopefully we can get a chance to do this more often, but we're busy people. So we'll see you soon.